If you are tired of seeing criminals get away with murder, tired of hearing excuses for the wicked, then it's time to take action. Hit that subscription button now and stay in the loop with the Jamaica Young Police channel. We are not here to sugarcoat. We are here to expose the truth, bring justice, and make sure the real heroes get the recognition they deserve. Don't wait for the change. Be the change. Subscribe, like, and let's make some noise and hold those criminals accountable. Justice in action. Speak up. Crime must fall. And remember that we have a go inside the description box and you'll see various links to various things for the Jamaica Young Police channel. JamaicaYoungPoliceChannel.com, where you see articles and stuff like that. Those who like to read, and and we continue to give you guys exceptional material over here. So, moving on. Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. To our loyal viewers, subscribers, and Patreon members. At the channel, we are a group of law-abiding citizens who believe in the rule of law and respect the rights of every citizen, but not the ones who do not subscribe to such behavior. We do believe in and support preemptive strikes because they save lives. This is a logical conclusion because preemptive strikes save lives and prevent the further loss of lives. We are all about saving lives at this channel. We at the channel aid criminals with a passion and do not want them over here. We do not want your views, your subscriptions, your likes, or your comments. Please go elsewhere where the red carpet is waiting for you. Over here, we want you to go to prison or the departure lounge at Madden. Moving on to today's video. Yes, today I'm going to let you watch a video of the godfather of criminality for Jamaica. The godfather himself. Yes. And you will learn some things from what he's saying during this interview. And I will elaborate after, because we cannot allow an ex-foreigner, an ex-person who is born in Britain to rule us as black people. Because white people never like us. If the godfather of criminality had loved us, he would not destroy the minds of our people. He would have done much better. He would have let our people know that education is a key to a better life, and not the gun. Give me the book and not the gun. The godfather of criminality, Michael Manley, the foreign-born traitor who sold Jamaica to terror and gunmen. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself, because what you're about to hear is not propaganda. It's not partisan talking points. This is a man who is from the belly of the beast. As I said before, give me the book and not the gun. I have lived it, seen it. I have family who are a casualty of Michael Manley's policy. It's only 2 of us from my community, born and raised in Jonestown, that are left. 2. So just think about that. So when I'm talking, this is personal to me. This have nothing to do with politics. So if you want to say that I'm a labourite, that is your business. I am a Jamaican, I am a patriot. I love Jamaica. Most of my time as a police officer, I serve 99% of the time I was in the police force. It was the PMP government that was in government when I was a police officer. And no one can say that I was partisan. I was a crime fighter. As I said before, and I'll say again, I have no reason to lie on anyone. During my entire career in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the only time I've experienced being shot at by JLP gunmen was in Tivoli Gardens in 1996 at the cemetery. And because of my action, it was able to thwart, and it was... You have to go back and listen to some video. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself, because as we said before, what you're going to hear is not propaganda. You're going to, as we said before, I'm going to let you watch a video with Michael Manley. And it's not partisan talking points. It is brutal truth that your history books conveniently left out. This is the untold story of Michael Manley. The man many were brainwashed into worshipping. But who was in fact the architect of Jamaica's moral collapse, the merchant of murder, the debt merchant, and the godfather of criminality in our once beloved and beautiful island Jamaica? Who was Michael Manley, the foreign-born imposter? And before I even go any further, you heard the PMP the other day was boasting about the CIA report, and you notice they haven't said a word about it. So we'll do a series on it and let you know what's in the CIA report. Because I tell you, you see one thing with liars, documents always prove liars to be liars. You think if there's anything damaging in the CIA report towards Edward Seaga, I'm telling you, man, TVJ, CVM, and the PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organizers, propaganda machine, and the man whose face like some beat out pum-pum, that is Wayne Uglysom. They will be over there beating it. But no, there's nothing in it. Everything points right back to them. Where here you get the godfather of terrorism, Michael Manley, and his acolytes. That's what's in the CIA report. But I've been listening to see if they would have any conscience to even tell the Jamaican people. But you know that people who are in the PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, it's like a cult. You can't give them poison for drink and tell them it's someone else will die. And they will still drink it. Because that's how dumb these people are. And don't say, oh, so you born and growing, I belly I beast and you're not dumb. Because I can read. I love reading. Yes. And that's why people do not like. You see, when you can read, people cannot fool you. And it's not every educated person means to say them have sense. Because we can tell our brother when him, Dr. Alfred Dawes, and we'll do an expose upon him for sure you say my dummy too. Yeah, Alfred Dawes are dummy too. Yeah, the one over Waterford. So I will talk to my people in my Waterford. I used to live, as I said before, I'm from a PMP background. PMP. All of my, yeah, you understand, my father, family, and you understand, and extended family. As you heard, even, he's dead and God may his soul rest in peace. A policeman named Was. Yes, bad police. My great-grandmother saved his life down by Middle Quarters. And, he knows all of my father's family. The Porters in St. Elizabeth. And he knows even one of my cousins who was counselor. I don't know, as I said before, and I'll say again, I don't know most of my father's family. But I know that my grandfather owns a place in St. Elizabeth named Forest Mountain. All of that land up there is my grandfather. Back in the days before you even have buggy, my grandfather have a white horse and all kind of things. So we're not going to even go by that. So I'm just tell you. So forget about the school teacher told you Michael Manley was not one of us. He was born in Britain, the product of an English mother and a privileged elite father. He grew up in luxury, never knowing the struggles of Jamaican people. Yet somehow, he was allowed to walk into our lives, wear this mask of a man of the people, and inflict generational damage from which we are still trying to recover. He wasn't molded by the streets of Kingston or the farms of Clarendon or the fields in St. Elizabeth. He was molded in the posh classrooms of London School of Economics, learning Marxism, Fabian socialism, and revolutionary tactics, not for justice, but for power. And what did he do when he returned to Jamaica? He weaponized the poor and sold them a dream dipped in blood. From scholar to warlord, when Michael Manley turned gunmen into soldiers. In 1970s, Jamaica was at a crossroad. We had the potential. We had talent. But Michael Manley chose violence over vision. He created a blueprint for political terrorism. And this is not speculation. This is a fact. He sent 2,500 young men from the inner cities, men barely out of their teens, to Cuba. Not to learn engineering or agriculture, but to train in guerrilla warfare, sabotage and assassination. These boys returned home, not with books or diploma, but with guns, military drills, and ideological brainwashing, ready to die for a man who saw them as expendable pawns in a game of power. Sound familiar right now in 2025? Yes. This wasn't patriotism, this was terrorism. These boys became the first political gunmen, the enforcers of garrison politics, and the founding father of criminal empires that plague Jamaica today. Manley's real legacy, the death of decency. Before Manley, Jamaicans were known for morals, decency, manners, and deep-rooted sense of shame and honor. Back then, growing up, if you have a family member who's been to jail, that's before Michael Manley came along. You have a family member that's been to jail. Your family is cursed in the community. Nobody will talk to you. I am telling you that. So you have to move. And when you migrate and go elsewhere, you cannot go move there with the criminality because the same treatment you're going to get. And people, once you're a newcomer and come to people's community, and back them, criminals used to have mugshot. And you used to see the mugshot them. So that's why when them wanted, you used to see them name in the paper. Michael Manley normalized criminality and make people and desensitize them. And worse, he never told these youths the truth. Michael Manley flipped the value system upside down and made criminality fashionable. He romanticized rebellion and glorified the gunmen. And worse, he never told these youths the truth. That there are only two destinations for gangsters' lifestyle. He sold them prison or the departure lounge. That's at the morgue. He didn't teach them about accountability. He didn't promote family values or community building. Instead, he taught them that loyalty to party was greater than loyalty to country, morality, or even God. Michael Manley never even respect God either. Just like how you say, Mark gonna be a goal. I tell black boys, say, open your body hole and take it like a girl. And you don't see none of your big artists, none of your Rasta them, no Buju Banton, no Sizzler, no Capitan, no Tony Rebel, no Muta Baruka, no Luciana, no Shaggy. Vice Cartel a rear admiral, same now do that. Alkaline a rear admiral, same now go tell the youth them that. None of them. The between man. The only somebody we say always I denounce them and him never bow is Bounty Killer, so we can't say that. But Bounty Killer not come out and say nothing about it and I say, what kind of thing that? Oh, you feel boy, I wish man happy anniversary in our country. You can't, you understand. But this is how these white people are because them behave to them superior to it. So that's why we as black people we have to defend this. Michael Manley didn't teach them about accountability. He didn't promote family values. Instead, he taught them the loyalty of party was greater than loyalty to country and morality are even over God. And today we live in a Jamaica where gunmanship is admired, murderers are celebrities, and young boys are handed guns instead of guidance. All because one man's sick, foreign-born ambition. How dare they call him good? Let's pause here, because every now and then you'll hear someone say, Michael Manley was a great man. Excuse me, great man? What the hell are you talking about? Oh, a man for great. And he has sent 2,500 young men to train in criminality, terrorism, to kill Jamaican people. These were police officers or soldiers. They were criminals. So when you say Michael Manley was a great man, that is like saying Satan is good because he once sang in the heavenly choir. Michael Manley was no Jesus. He was a serpent in the garden, whispering sweet promises to the poor while poisoning their future. He created a political culture built on fear, enforced by violence and protected by propaganda. If Jesus Christ preached salvation, Michael Manley preached subjugation by bullet, by blood, and by the ballot. Fraud. We cannot repeat this tragedy. Fast forward to today, 2025, and history is trying to repeat itself. Another British-born politician, political wolf in orange clothing, want to rule us. His name is Mark Gummerbeer Golin. He's not just following Michael Manley's footsteps, he's dancing in his grave, using the same tactics, empowering criminals,
clear things. Firstly, the city of Kingston, like many cities with problems around employment and poverty, has always had a tendency to violence of the kind that you would find certainly in many North American cities. upset and off balance and that sort of thing. And definitely, therefore, there is a political element has crept into the situation.
Well, why would the opposition party, I presume you're referring to the opposition party, there are only two parties running,
Yes.
and why would they go to tactics of that nature? Don't you think it would harm them more than do them any good?
Well, I think that the whole thing, you see, has been, I think, rather cleverly managed, in that our political tradition has always involved, again, a very marginal element of violence, although it used to be in the old days just fist fights and the occasional brick and things of that sort. And recently what has happened, as I say, is to introduce into this tendency a certain element that I think is borrowed from the underworld. And I think this has been done by certain elements quite deliberately to cause a certain panic in the society, to give the impression that the government's not really in control. And of course, sometimes, as happens when the violence starts on one side, you get reaction from the other side. So in the end, you get a confused situation in which the average citizen may think, well, it just seems to be both of them at each other. So that one gets a cloak under which really to work the plan.
In driving around Kingston, we noticed a lot of signs saying Castro go home or CIA go home. There seems to be a Cuban-American involvement in this. Now, how much influence do these countries have on this political scene at this time?
They don't, neither country has any general influence in the Jamaican political scene. What has happened is that because the Jamaican...
In Jamaica, Michael Manley was not just a charismatic leader or a social reformer. He was a foreign British-born citizen who unleashed political and criminal plague upon Jamaica that metastasized into the deadly culture we see today. Our graduate a man who sent how many young men to Cuba, including my family member, to come back and kill Jamaican, and then they go say he was a good man. Can't be a good man. That means that you'd be called Satan good because Satan used to sing in a heavenly choir. Michael Manley was born in England. But let's be honest, his soul belonged to Britain. He was the son of Norman Manley, a Rhodes Scholar and a founder of the People's National Party. And Edna Manley, an Englishwoman of upper class descent. Yes, and Michael Manley, parents were cousins, family run. So yes, Michael Manley was not just a foreign product. He was British to the bone, and his political philosophies, elitism, and dangerous ideologies were imported straight from the socialist laboratory of London and Cuba. He was educated at the London School of Economics, where he came under the influence of Fabian socialism and Marxist ideologies who brainwashed him into believing that power must be seized, not earned. When he came to Jamaica, he didn't see his people. He saw a playing field. And what did he do? He manipulated the suffering of the poor to wage war. Not just against the JLP or imperialism, but against his own people, using ghetto youths as weapon. Manley's master plan, train, arm and unleash. In the early 1970s, as Jamaica stood at the crossroad, Michael Manley made a fatal mistake. He made a fatal choice. He chose the path of violence to maintain power. While preached democratic socialism to the masses, he was secretly building a political militia. He sent thousands, 2,500 young black men from the inner cities, communities, like Rima, yes, some part of Rima was PMP then, Jonestown, Hanet Garden, Jonestown, to Cuba and other parts of the country, to all people from, you have all boy named Manzi and Trash from Clarendon, and I know and others. Yeah, me and them talk, them know my cousin them good. Because yes, me talk all dirty bungle them and them thing. You have all a policeman who used to work on here, Winston Milleder. All him too was a brigadista. Him live in America, him change his name to Michael Rowbottom. I never report him to the State Department that he was a brigadista. No, I never do that. But you understand, never do that or anything like that. But Michael Manley didn't send him for education. Not for trade, but for paramilitary training. These men came back not as engineers or doctors, but as killers, skilled in guerrilla warfare, armed with ideological poison and loyal, not to Jamaica, but to Michael Manley and his political survival. So that's why you see them kidnap the woman named Nikki. And you know, go outreach on the PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organization hierarchy. Because you have to understand that these people, they are not Jamaicans. They are PMP supporters. PMP supporters, their loyalty is not to Jamaica. It's to the PMP. So these were the first generation of political gunmen, a team that became infamously synonymous with the PMP. And from there, the floodgates opened. Gun violence surged, communities were carved into political garrison, and Jamaica plunged into a war that was never declared, but bled through every neighborhood. Tivoli, Gardens versus Jungle, Southside versus Tel Aviv. No corner was spared from the war that Michael Manley ignited. Tower Hill versus Malwood. Everybody used to live as one. Michael Manley separate them by color. And them say red, blood of a run. Manley's mask versus private mission. Publicly, Michael Manley wore a garb of a people's champion. He gave fiery speeches against colonialism, wielded a pipe like a revolutionary prophet, and won election with slick rhetoric. But privately he used fear, intimidation, and political violence as a tool of governance. You know how many people from my community at Jonestown, when them chase out, some of them kill them and take away them place. And you tell me, say, me as a man, we have a conscience and an heart and have humanity in me for promote and support a party like this, a criminal, a terrorist organization that destroy lives. Let me say, I want to love myself, I want to love my fellow man. I wasn't raised that way by my mother. Entire communities were held hostages by dons who took the recorders from political operatives. Police officers who refused to bow to PMP, LGBTQ plus criminal machinery were sidelined, transferred, or killed. The result, the rule of law collapsed in many areas and was replaced by the rule of the gun. And police used to protect the gunmen them too. Come here, I tell about all our brother when near my Ironside. Him dead now, Vernon McKay. Them man, they used to give man gunshot in my yard and everything now, I see him. He used to smoke all them chalice. But then, you know, you got a prison for do that, you know. And them man, they and them gunman, them are big friend, you know. I tell you, you know, yes, you understand. After they mash up the community, all the police them leave. But most of them that live in a Jonestown, they were all PMP supporters. They weren't police officers. Them dead for help. According to them with the struggle. Struggle for what? Manley's legacy didn't die with him. It was inherited like a curse crowned. He created a political and cultural structure that glorified the gunman, normalized garrison politics, and corrupt entire generations. Today we see young men idolizing murderers, music glorifying violence, and politicians still hugging dons for vote. And you see the British-born Mark Gummy Golden. It's on the Jamaica young politician and marching with a known murderer and gang leader, Danville Palmer, the leader of the Upsetter gang. Man got prison for murder and come out on parole. And him still a commit crime. Say I like them kill a lot of youth. 2 weeks ago, and it's on the channel. This isn't an accident. This is the Manley effect. Even Edward Seaga, Manley's chief political rival, once described him as a brilliant mind with a dangerous ambition. And history has proven this statement painfully accurate. So enter Mark Gummy Golden, the sequel to the tragedy. Fast forward to 2025. Jamaica stands on the edge of making the same deadly mistake again. Now another born PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organization leader want to sit in Jamaica House. His name is Mark Jefferson Golden, a.k.a. Gummy Bear, born in England. Golden is a biological and ideological successor to Michael Manley, a man who wasn't even born in Jamaica. Now wants to lead it. And just like Manley, he's surrounded by criminals, protected by corruption and armed with sweet-sounding lies. Gummy Bear track record speak for itself. He stood with criminals, defense attorney who defend gangster, not with the victims. He celebrated with convicted murderers at political conferences. He never denounced the garrisons, and his silence in the face of criminal glorification is deafening. If Manley trained the first generation of political gunmen, Golding is their cheerleader today, smiling in public while empowering them in the shadows. Jamaica cannot afford to make the same mistake twice. Let this be clear. Michael Manley's reign of terror cost Jamaica thousands of lives through civil unrest, gang warfare, and the destruction of national unity. The garrison system he built has enslaved our communities and stolen the future of countless children. Do we really want to hand in the keys to that house of horror to another foreigner? Jamaicans must wake up. Jamaica must wake up from the slumber of loyalty and recognize the pattern. History doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. And we are already hearing the chorus of destruction again. Choose wisely, choose Jamaican. Support leaders who were born in Jamaica, raised in our struggle and committed to our people, not imported ideologues with hidden agendas. The time is now to say no to foreign-born leaders with British passports, no to the continuation of political terrorism, no to Mark Gummy Bear Golding and the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, and yes to Jamaica, yes to peace, yes to true Jamaican leadership, because one godfather of criminality was more than enough. Don't give the sequel a chance. So now we're going to let you listen to this man, Michael Manley, in an interview, and then we'll tell you some facts, because most of you will never hear all of these things that I'm telling you. And I am going to tell you from memory as a youth, born and growing in a belly of beast. As I said before, our yard, big yard, that's how we hear all our politics and all of the lies and everything. Cook up.
Like the Canadian government, who have always had a tradition of friendly relations with Cuba. We have been charged by the more right-wing extremist elements of our opposition with all sorts of propaganda in what has really been an orchestrated communist smear tactic. Very unfair. We're not communist. We're very much a sort of social democrat group, democratic socialist group. And these smear tactics have been worked, which accounts for the Castro go home kind of slogan. And then, of course, there has been a certain tension in certain elements in the United States of America about our relations with Cuba, as indeed there is tension in America towards, and Canada's attitude towards Cuba, as you know, is not approved of by the State Department. And so somehow all this has got escalated into a series of charges and countercharges.
Well, is there some financial involvement, say, from the Cubans to your government and from the Americans to the opposition?
No. Well, I can't speak for the Americans with the opposition. There's no financial involvement between the Cubans and us. None whatsoever.
The Cubans are investing here, though. They're like building a school.
Well, that really was a gesture of solidarity. It's very much a, there's a new thing emerging in the Third World, where Third World countries often do things for each other on a cooperative basis in a manner that I think is quite new in world experience and very interesting. We, for instance, are helping them with no charge at all with some things that we think we are quite good at, like tourism. We send teams for no charge to help them organize their new tourist industry. And also we have been one of the countries here who has, I think, shown courage in standing up for Cuba's right to be accepted as a normal part of the Latin American family. And I think that they appreciate this, and as a gesture of solidarity, offered to build this school as a sort of reciprocal gesture, which of course became a subject of propaganda.
Yes, why would they be so touchy, though, for people to take pictures of a project like that?
Well, you see, because the fact that they're building this school has been the subject of a lot of unfavorable comment in the American press. Right-wing elements in Jamaica have been very nasty about it. And they, after all, have a very unfortunate experience with the CIA, as I'm sure you know. And they have had their own embassy. Yes, in recent times, for example, the embassy has been attacked twice here by extremist right-wing elements. And I think that this tends to make them very sensitive and therefore touchy, as you said, touchy about the situation and very careful. And, you know, with the state of emergency on, they would be particularly, I think, cautious at this time.
What about Canadian investment in Jamaica? I understand it's about $300 million. And with the swing toward socialism or perhaps eventual nationalization, what sort of situation are they in now? Is it a precarious thing for them, or?
No, we have very good relations with Canadian capital generally in Jamaica. We've found them to be good corporate citizens, and the banks by and large cooperate with the government very well. We really haven't had any problems in that, and with one of your major investments, of course, which is the Alcan operation. Here, we, as you know, are in the middle of a major revision of our whole bauxite strategy, because this is our critical basic resource. It's the one really big thing we have going for us, apart from tourism. We have our people, we have bauxite, and we have tourism, and we have sugar. And our negotiations with the Alcan group to work out a new relationship between them and the Jamaica government are going very well, and I think are getting quite near to an amicable settlement.
Mm-hmm. One of the, I should have asked this along with the first part of the interview, but one of the reasons I got for the, if I may call it, terror and unrest here was the unemployment factor, and the fires and things that have been going on in a very poor area. Do you feel that perhaps it's because of these poor people and the unemployment rate that has...
Absolutely not. Absolutely nothing to do with it at all. What that does is to create a tense situation. But the actual terrorism is manipulated. And it really is very easy to demonstrate this, because some of the problems that we have had have been small groups of gunmen who operate from quite expensive Toyota cars. Now, when you own a Toyota car and the three of you work from that, I don't think you really are poor. But what the poverty does, as I say, is to create an atmosphere that can be exploited and manipulated by anybody who is ruthless. Where the unemployment is concerned, for example, with all the tremendous world...
You know, Michael Manley was a pathological liar. That man never speak truth, ever. Michael Manley won Olympic gold for lying. And that's what the PNP criminal organization is all about. They don't speak truth. The serpent in surplus, Michael Manley, lies, murder plots, and the greatest deception in Jamaican political history. What you thought you knew about Michael Manley, throw it in the garbage, because you have been fed for decades was a carefully cooked plate of lies, seasoned with propaganda, garnished with blood, and served to the people as progress. But the truth is darker than midnight in a garrison, and the more terrifying than a Don with a grudge. This isn't just political history. This is betrayal at the highest level. This is treason in a tailored suit. The great pretender Michael Manley, mask of deceit. Michael Manley, foreign-born, British, raised and Marxist trained, didn't come to lead Jamaica. He came to colonize our minds, poison our youths, and silence the opposition. And when his lies started to catch up with him, he didn't seek forgiveness. He reached for blood. You see, Manley was not the man of peace he pretended to be. Beneath the charisma and pipe-smoking facade was a cold-blooded political tyrant surrounded by enforcers and killers disguised as civil servants and loyalists. The Cuban embassy shooting, a false flag of fire. That's how normally all the propagandists them work. Them do it and then them call, say other person do it. So let's start with the infamous Cuban embassy shooting in Kingston. The narrative you were sold some mysterious anti-Cuban elements attacked the embassy in an act of sabotage. Lies, all of it. Reminder, it was also of the M16s, the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization communities. I as a youth grew up and I saw when two police officers were issuing this gun. Police Barrington, Hamilton, and Big Youth at the corner of Love Street and Price Street. The men who carried out the operation weren't from foreign lands or from Tivoli or Arima. They were born and bred in Jonestown and Concrete Jungle, Kingston 12. The very streets where Michael Manley political machinery was hiled with blood. They got a vehicle, not a civilian car. It was an unmarked police vehicle driven by a policeman named Barrington Hamilton. The hit squad included Tony Welch, street soldier turned political asset, General Starkey, enforcer with intelligent ties, Vincent Morrison aka Spurline, known for covert PMP LGBTQ plus criminal assignments, and Police Big Youth, a man sworn to uphold the law but instead use it to cover it for criminality. These men were not rogue actors, they were political operatives, harmed and enabled by the state. When things spiraled, the government needed a cover-up, and fast. So the assassination plot against Edward Seaga. But if you think that's the worst of it, you are not ready for what comes next. There was a PMP insider named Spy Robinson. Lisa Anna, the same Lisa Anna who applied to switch from the PMP to the GLP, she and Spy Robinson are friends. Him living in Canada. A trusting confidant of Michael Manley, D.K. Duncan, Tony Spalding, and Kiba Munn. Robinson wasn't just a loyalist, he was a killer in waiting. The mission? Yes. Assassinate Edward Seaga. The weapon? A 9mm pistol with 26 rounds. Bought with the government funds through D.K. Duncan. The motive? Remove the opposition, seize control by fear, and install permanent PMP rule. But here's the twist. The hit was foiled. Spy Robinson was intercepted and disarmed by soldiers from the Jamaica Defense Force who were guarding Edward Seaga at the time. When they cross-checked the weapon, the records show it was a government-issued firearm directly tying the attempted political murder to Michael Manley's administration. Let that sink in. Michael Manley tried to assassinate Edward Seaga using state resources. And when the walls of exposure began to close in, when journalists and insiders started sniffing around, Manley did what tyrants always do. He declared a state of emergency. The state of emergency silencing the truths with handcuffs. Michael Manley called the 1976 state of emergency not to save Jamaica from crime, but to save himself from being exposed as a political criminal. He ordered mass arrests, Pernell Charles jailed, Oliver Babsy Grange locked up, dozens of Rastas detained at Red Fence at Upper Camp, and then we have them thing we call no man's land, where them have them open jail, prison, rainfall, sun come and yeah, I saw it going. Michael Manley do that, Why? Because Rasta were the voice of the streets, and at the time many were community leaders, dons, and cultural icons. Michael Manley knew that once the Rasta movements turned against him, his house of cards would fall. The betrayal of Bob Marley and a bullet for truth, and then came the final betrayal that exposed the serpent for who he was. Yes, who he really was, Michael Manley. Bob Marley, the voice of the people, the prophet in song, refused to endorse Michael Manley for a second term. He saw through his lies. He called Michael Manley a tyrant, and that shook the political heavens. Secretly. And what did Michael Manley do? He sent gunmen from Kingston 12, my own community, to assassinate Bob Marley. The same Michael Manley and his wife and others were shot inside his home. They survived by a miracle, but the message was clear. Disagree with the serpent and you get the fang. Michael Manley, Satan in a safari suit. How can anyone, any sane thinking Jamaica say that this man was good? This is like comparing Jesus Christ to Lucifer and declaring Satan the better leader because he smiled more and gave better speeches. Michael Manley was not a liberator, he was an invader. He didn't build a better Jamaica, he buried it under bullets, betrayal and bloodshed. Now, in 2025, We are being courted by another foreign-born pretender, Mark Gummy Golden, British-born, gold spoon-fed, and walking the same serpent path of Michael Manley. Don't be fooled. Don't let your children fall for another imported messiah with local puppets. Jamaica doesn't need another Michael Manley. It doesn't need another Gummy Bear. It needs truth, justice, and Jamaican-born leadership with no blood in their hands and no bullets in their legacy. The Cuban embassy wasn't terrorism. It was a political stunt. The Ciaga assassination wasn't a humor or a rumor. It was plotted reality. Bob Marley wasn't attacked by a criminal. He was attacked by PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, political militias. Michael Manley was not misunderstood. He was maleficent. He was not a Jamaica's savior. He was its serpent. And the time has come for us to say it loud and say it proud and say it forever. Never again. Never again will we elect a foreigner as a prime minister of us as black people. We have more than competent black people in our country to lead us. And we have the best black man who's turning the tide against criminality for our youths in Jamaica to accept law-abiding lifestyle. Put down the gun, get booked, get trade, get paid to go to school. Stay informed, stay alert, and share the truth before they bury it again. We know that the Jamaica Young Police Channel is the most hated channel by the PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, their supporters and the likes. But guess what? The truth hurts only the guilty. Have yourself a beautiful day. Jamaica Young Police Channel out.